Hello, I fancied doing this somewhere else, and you may recognize this studio. I'm walking you into Studio 7 in Sky Sports, where, do you know what this is? See if you guess. Send me a comment. See if you guess what this is. Give you another look. You should know. Right, and we'll confirm later. But let's talk about what's happening this weekend in La Liga. There's interesting stories. One of them, the surprising one, that the civil guard waited twice in the last 2 weeks at the bottom of the steps of the private jet of Pep Guardiola when he landed in Barcelona, with the intention to see if Puigdemont, the former president of the Generalitat, the Catalan government, was on the plane. And that's because they're actually looking for him, as you know. There's a complex legal situation. He's living in Belgium at the moment. Until recently, he wanted to become the president of the Generalitat after the elections. But if he walks into Spain, the most likelihood is that he will be arrested. So he was not in the plane, in the private jet of Pep Guardiola. Anyway, more football-like stories is, of course, the situation of Gareth Bale. This is a fascinating one, of course, because until the PSG game, the message from both parts was very, very clear. From Real Madrid, it was, we hope that he recovers well. We've got no intention of selling, but you never know. They always added that, because I guess you always have to add that. In the case of Gareth Bale, it was like, why would he leave Real Madrid? He's happy there. But have a look at these stats. Since he came back from his injury, this is 13 games. Actually, he has only been 7 in the lineup, and 6 has come from the bench. And he has not finished a full game since September. In fact, he's only done it twice, and that was in that month, in September, in the whole season. The fact that he was on the bench against PSG, and in fact he's been on the bench 3 of the last 4 games, suggests that Zidane has lost confidence in him. More than that, Gareth Bale feels that Zidane has lost that confidence in him, and that affects his performances. When he comes on, he seems a little bit distracted, he seems a little bit distant. After in the Leganés game, for instance, he did not appear in the Sergio Ramos picture. He's not happy. He's definitely not happy. And as I was saying, he was not in the picture celebrating Sergio Ramos. I don't know what he was celebrating, but he was not in that picture. Everybody else was. Ceballos wasn't either, because he only came on the pitch for 28 seconds. So that's 2 upset players, I imagine. Anyway, quite clearly, I feel that Gareth Bale feels that Zidane has not dealt well with his injury. All Real Madrid have not dealt well with his injury. All the information was put to them, all the doctors' information that they had. But even so, that injury was recurrent, and that was not something that he wanted from Real Madrid. He would have liked a different treatment, especially coming back from such a serious muscle problem. So you've got a player that is not happy, and you've got Real Madrid opening the doors right now. They are. This is a story that we first published in AS on the 18th of February, saying that Real Madrid are willing to sell, and Gareth Bale now accepts that perhaps that's the best move for him, especially if Zidane stays. We don't know if he will or not. It's difficult to replace Zidane. The names that have been mentioned in the Spanish press, Klopp, Pochettino, Joachim Löw, they're really not available, I would say. Not only they are under contract, they're happy with the situation, so it won't be easy to replace Zidane, and it may well be the case that Real Madrid will have to actually make sure that Zidane doesn't go. So we'll see on that one, but Gareth Bale and Zidane are not in the best of terms, and what's happening right now is that Bale expects to be on the bench on other games, including big ones, maybe PSG again, which will be very telling. Of course, Zidane looks at the sporting performance, and what he sees is a player that when he came back from his last injury, he was very good, scored 6 goals in 7 games, but lately he has been less effective. But it's a mutual thing, isn't it? If you don't give confidence to the player gets affected, doesn't give you as much as you need. And what we're getting at the moment at Real Madrid is Lucas Vázquez and Marco Asensio becoming the second and third players that have been involved in more goals this season, Cristiano being the first. So Benzema is not there, and that's of course another debate, why Benzema is treated so well and why Gareth Bale is not treated in the same fashion. So a debate that will continue, but yes, of course, if Gareth Bale goes, Manchester United will be there. There's no doubt about that. I don't think he will go back to Spurs, and I haven't heard anything yet from Chelsea wanted him, but I'm sure that they will be in the equation. What's interesting is that Real Madrid need the money to actually make sure that they get the 2 or 3 Galacticos that they want for next season. So De Gea is about to renew his contract with Manchester United. That comes after negotiations, not so much negotiations, conversations with Real Madrid, in which Real Madrid showed their interest, but of course they were quoted 100 million euros, and they did not want to pay that for De Gea. So Courtois would be somebody that they still want, because they want to renew the goalkeeping position. Courtois will be there, as you know, and we've spoken before. Courtois is interested in the move to Real Madrid. But they want a striker, Real Madrid, and they want another Galactico. They would like Hazard, and Lewandowski would like to go to Real Madrid, and hence him breaking his relationship with what he was, his friend, and somebody that they shared the changing room when he was a kid, Cesare Kucharski. He has been his agent so far, but last week they parted company, and Pini Zahavi is the new agent of Lewandowski. That's a decision after having spoken to others like Mino Raiola and Jorge Mendes, but they decided to go for Pini Zahavi because of his good relationship with big clubs, PSG mostly, but also Real Madrid as well. And I think quite clearly those two will hear what Pini Zahavi has to say to them. In fact, Pini Zahavi has already been in contact with both of them. He reckons there's 2 other clubs in the Premier League that will be interested in him, and that will be Manchester United and Manchester City. So we will see what happens with Lewandowski, because of course Bayern Munich are not willing to sell right now, but an offer of 150 million euros that will be maybe attractive to them for somebody that will be 30 in August, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, and Real Madrid, to actually be able to raise that kind of money, they need money. They need to sell the players. Hence the possibility from now of Benzema and Bale being for sale. A couple of stories more. Simeone and Torres, they seem to be at arms. Basically, in a quiet way in the case of Torres, who thinks that he should have given more opportunities under Simeone. And Simeone, he was asked before the Copenhagen Europa League game if he felt that he had to say the same that he had said about Griezmann, in terms of if I was a fan of Atletico Madrid, I would want Griezmann to stay. I will want to work hard for Griezmann to stay. And he said, no, it's not the same situation. And he left it at that. And of course, he had to continue with his that explanation, because he felt that he was taken as a dig to Fernando Torres. It's an interesting situation. Simeone is thinking of the future. He doesn't want Torres there next season. Torres is a symbol of the club. So what do? Is it the emotions you have to look after, or is it the sporting side that you have to look after? Meanwhile, a Chinese club has actually approached Atletico Madrid, and that offer has been put to Fernando Torres in case he wants to go now. The suggestion is that he is thinking about leaving now. I think they've got until the 28th of this month to take a decision. So that's that. There's other stories like Semedo being arrested. He actually kidnapped somebody and stole with 2 more people money and jewelry. So he could be actually, if he gets found guilty, he could be 5 years in prison. That's Semedo of Villarreal. And of course, the tragic news that Basque police had it seems a heart attack between what it was clashes between Athletic Bilbao ultras and Russian ultras as well. Mostly Russian and Polish ultras were arrested, 9 of them in total, and it seems like when he was clashing with the fans without any physical contact or anything being thrown at him or anything, just he had a heart attack, and a couple of hours later, sadly, he died in hospital. Terrible news, absolutely unnecessary to see fans behaving that way. The problem is that they are not fans. They come to places like this, to Bilbao, actually in search of trouble. So authorities in Russia should look after this, same as authorities in Spain. But of course, there's a World Cup soon in Russia, to which we are going. I'm going. A lot of journalists are going. A lot of people are going, and would like to feel safe. So it's time for Russia to make sure that they give no leavings whatsoever to those kinds of people. So that's that. Now I'm going to go on Sky Sports News and talk a little bit football, and we'll also do Facebook Live and Twitter for Revista, and that will be my day. So I'll speak to you later.